All right, you guys. I'm back with another video, and Chicago had media day today. So let me start by saying, first of all, I'm leaving work right now. I literally just pulled out of parking lot for my job, but so I look a little scruffy right now, but whatever. So I listened to everybody's of the starters anyway. I'm not sure if they have the bench guys get up there or anything yet. Kobe White, those cats. But I've listened to, AK, BD, and all the starters. And I was looking at body language. Granted, some it's a little harder to tell because I don't have any baselines to go off of. Certain other ones I've seen a couple of interviews and stuff with them, so it's a little bit easier to tell. Let me say this. Judging off of what I saw today, for the most part, everything seemed to be pretty up and on the honest side. I didn't see too many things that would, lean me either direction, which is good. Those are the kind of things, when they start having conversations and stuff about, roles and things, you kind of want to take it with a grain of salt. But it seems like everybody's answer was very consistent with that. I know that may be kind of odd considering the fact that we got guys like well, let me not throw YouTubers under the bus because I am a YouTuber. I don't want anybody to do me like that. But we do have some guys on YouTube, and they were out here saying, "Oh, Lonzo's going to be off ball. He's going to play the same role." If you follow any of these guys on here, on YouTube or Twitter, you probably know who I'm talking about. Don't believe that nonsense. But, it was pretty consistent. Some interesting takeaways. Billy Donovan and Arturas Karnisovas articulated this and make sure they got this point out there. Now, we need to kind of discuss it momentarily. Basically, and I'm going to paraphrase, it was like, okay, once we got the trade last year done, for Vooch, we got way too slow. And we needed to play faster, to compete with the other teams in the league more effectively, yada, yada, yada. And so, you bring in your Lonzos, you bring in DeRozan, you bring in Caruso, you go get these athletes and stuff like that. I think, again, that, well, let me continue with this thought first. So, their whole game plan was to play fast, right? And then you go get a guard like Lonzo Ball, which means they really want, that person to initiate the flow, the pace. Now, let's talk about the fact that pretty much everybody up there was asked a question, or if they wasn't asked a question directly dealing with Zoe, they included Zoe. And it was reiterated that Zoe is the point guard. He is going to play a traditional point guard role. Now, what does that mean? People, that means Lonzo gets the ball, brings the ball up the court, sets the table, and then the plays get ran. That does not mean he dominates the ball and is looking to just fish for assists. He can do that at some points in the game, but that's not the main thing that he does. He's not going to be a Luka Doncic. His job is to read the defense, read the flow of the game, maintain or log in his brain, the conditioning and mental states of his team and the others, and pick the best shots based off of the situation. So, if they're ahead in the game and they want to slow the game down a little bit and just methodically kill you in the post, it wouldn't surprise me if he told everybody to clear the fuck out, put Vooch in the post, and just give the ball to Vooch, and Vooch does an over shoulder layup, basically. And they win the game that way. Or, hey, we need to run, we need to pick up the pace, get the moving, blah, 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 and the troops follow orders. Does that mean he's going to be a guy that's going to take 17, 18, 19 shots a game? No, because here's the terms you got to follow here. Traditional point guard. Traditional point guard is not Steph Curry. It is not Dame Lillard. It is not Trae Young. It is not modern day. Traditional, we're talking John Stockton. We're talking Magic Johnson. We're talking Jason Kidd. These are the kinds of guys, the players that, we're referencing here. So we shouldn't be sitting here expecting a ton of shots like that. Now, will he get his shots? Yes, he will get shots. Everybody on the squad is going to get shots. But don't expect this man to go up here and put up 25, 8, and 8. Speaking of, let's talk about this too. Rebounding and defense. You know what? Y'all gonna give me my motherfucking flowers one day. Y'all gonna fuck around and give me my flowers, man. Look, BD mentioned that rebounding is going to be done by a committee because we don't have the size. We got to commit to the boards. Again, he said there's some games they're just not going to win a rebound battle. Like, duh. Right? I don't know why people are like disputing me on these rebounds and shit, bruh. They just don't have the size to do it all the time. Now, they also make the statement, look, because in modern day basketball, carving out traditional space in the paint to get rebounds isn't necessarily the way you want to get rebounds all the time. I agree. But the point is, a lot of their games are going to be decided by how well they play on the boards. And those boards are very important. Billy Donovan understands the game plan. Or as we saying nowadays, he understood the assignment. We got to be on the boards, man. If other teams commit 2, we need to commit 3. If other teams commit 4, we need to have the whole team under there. Whatever it takes. We need to have more people rebounding than they do. There needs to be a committed effort to that. Also mentioned defense and how that's going to be a challenge as well. See, these are the things that I talked about right after the signings happened. I said, look, this is what this roster looks like. I'm sorry, I see holes here and here and here and here. What did Billy Donovan say? I see holes in the exact same places. Now, does that mean that this team is going to go in and be like, not be able to be like top 10 or top 5 in those stats? No, I'm not saying that. It's a possibility. But they're going to have to put in a lot of effort to get there. And even while doing that, there's some teams that just never going to out-rebound. Milwaukee and the Lakers. By the way, the Lakers announced the projected lineup today. AD is the starting 5. LeBron is power forward. Trevor Ariza is the 3. And then they still got Russell Westbrook to be the point guard who's averaged a triple-double like 4 years straight, looks like. I know it's at least 3, but maybe it was 4. The point is, they got rebounders. They can put bodies on the board. Team like Milwaukee, Chris, Giannis, Lopez, put bodies on the board. We're not going to out-rebound these trees and these freakish athletes. Not just straight one-on-one, no. Yeah, Vooch is going to be able to do some things, but even Vooch he's got to win his matchup too. So you got to rebound by committee. You got to play defense. Again, let's talk about what Billy Donovan and AK mentioned about them having to play fast, because what they did is they mentioned each of the guys' individual strengths, and he said, look, we got Lonzo on the team. We're going to have to play fast. We got to play around Lonzo's pace and his speed and getting his passing game involved, because that's the best version of Lonzo. So they're adjusting how they play for Lonzo. Now, talking about a team who's going to have to figure it out on the fly. Okay? Obviously, Pat Will went down. They expect him to be back, not too long. It shouldn't take too terribly long for him to get back. Maybe he'll be back, before the season starts or right at it, whatever. Speaking of which, Zion Williamson fractured a toe, and so he's been out. He's not been able to participate. They expect him to be back for the beginning of the regular season. We'll see. He may not. Which, by the way, I already had the Pels losing to the Bulls. If he doesn't play that game, they're definitely going to lose that. By the way, B.I. looked like he bulked up, which is excellent. Man's looked like he put on some weight, and I saw something saying they looked like he put on 15 pounds of muscle. So, that's solid for him. I'm happy to see that because I still like B.I. I still like Zion. But anyway, they had to adjust the roles of the team, back on the Bulls now, for everybody's skill set, which is great. You want to see that, and I think, and I've always said this as a person who wants to eventually get into coaching, I don't think you just have a system and that's you make everybody fit the system. I think the system evolves with the players that you have. You may want to play fast, but if you don't have, players that can do that, you got to play what you got. Your job is to run something that gets the most out of everybody. And that's essentially what Billy Donovan and them were talking about. One, they wanted to play fast, so they wanted Lonzo or someone like him. And they wanted to get Zach off the ball so he wouldn't, turn over the ball. He could be the best version of himself. And they wanted to have more ball-handling playmakers. So they got the start lineup alone is going to have, DeRozan, Zach, and Zoe. Building the roster to fit, an idea. Excellent work. And I liked what I heard from them. Now we got to see it play out. Okay? Lonzo's getting paid a lot of money this year. You got to come with it. So, let's talk a little bit about these interviews with the players. Zach LaVine interview was basically, stuff about Team USA. His role on the team as the best player, quote unquote the leader, and his contract situation. Smart man, look, we're not talking about contract, we're talking about training camp tomorrow and regular season. That's my focus. We'll deal with that later. Right, because we don't need that distraction, number one. And then number two, you already know you're getting paid anyway. That was something that they expressed, like they are going to commit to Zach LaVine. It's just a matter of, hey, let's go out here and get this money. Go out here and play. We'll offer you the max, and if you do what you need to do, you'll get the super max. So go out there and show us that you want that super max. If not, you still get the max. But go try to get the super max, bro. Let's see what you got. Nothing wrong with that. He knows he's going to get his money. But anyway, he talked about how working around, not DeRozan, KD and some of the other guys from Team USA, changed his mindset or updated his mindset on how he should be carrying himself and working out and bringing that to the table. And he's going to use that to, help lead this team. Excellent. I believe him. He's a mad chill dude, though. I like Zach. I've always liked Zach. I've always liked this game. But just really listening to him, I'm like, Zach is one of those kind of dudes I would love to hang around. He would be like one of the homies I would love to kick it with. DeMar DeRozan, pretty much most of the same stuff, yada, yada, yada. There was a question that kind of, I can't remember what the question was, but he went out his way to include Lonzo in the question. And I'm glad he does that. It's about time that Lonzo had a teammate that included him, and not just him, Pat Will too, in the conversation. Like, look, man, don't just talk about me, talk about us. We go out there as a unit. We're together on this. I like that. I like that camaraderie from DeMar DeRozan. But more so, look, man, they keep asking bruh about his fit. And I think he's starting to get pissed off a little bit about this because it's like, bruh, look, This is basketball. Y'all make this shit out to be more than what it is. All right, we gonna work on our games. Everybody's committed to winning. And so I'm going to do what I need to do to win, and I'm not going to step on anybody's toes. And what we're going to do is we're going to find a way to play to incorporate everybody's play style and let everybody play the way that they want to play, the way they need to play, and then we'll make that work. And he's like, I'm a basketball player. It don't matter if Pat Will is out for an injury. If you put me at the 4, I'll figure it out. You know, that's what I'm going to do. You know, my job is to figure out how to win, no matter what position I'm in. Bravo, motherfucker. Because that's what needs to be said. Like, people need to leave. Like, and here's the thing. Despite what he's saying, is there a player that could fit better? Absolutely. But he's on the team. So guess what? You got to make that shit work. Can he coexist next to DeMar DeRozan? Sure, put them on the opposite side of the court. You got two different threats to defend and deal with. That's it. That's it. And when he's got the ball, he can pass. It's really not that hard. Run actions to get him in the mid-range, to get him cutting. Simple. When Zach LaVine has the ball, everybody knows their role. Let that man do what he got to do. Make his job easier. And Zach will make DeRozan's job easier. That's it. It's not that hard. And even Zoe commented, like, look, man, y'all making too much of this shit. They can shoot, they can score. Fuck it. You know, all I got to do is get them the ball in the right spot. I mean, what more to it is it? Absolutely right. Just get them the fucking ball. You know, you get into the paint and stuff, you dribble, you keep your dribble, you pull the defense in, the ball cuts, guess what? 2 easy points. Bam. You know, by the way, you put DeMar at the top of the key, pick and roll with Vooch. I've already discussed the options that they have. Well, guess what? You sit there, you double up, or you commit an extra defender, and you're trying to stop, you know, DeRozan and Vooch. Guess what? Zach LaVine is going to cut, and nobody's going to be able to stop that man getting to the rim. And who's going to find him? DeRozan. I mean, they can work. It's not that difficult. But I think this is more headed to what I said a long time ago. They're going to play duos out there for the most part, particularly when Kobe is healthy. Zach and Zoe will be together most of the time. DeRozan and Vooch will be together most of the time. And then Kobe and Caruso will be together most of the time. And primarily, when Kobe is in with Caruso, you're probably going to have Vooch or DeRozan in the game too. And when Zach and Zoe are in the game, you're going to have probably your Troy Brown Jr.'s and all the rest of the bench guys that play defense, because those two are going to run the offense to get the shots. Those guys just need to commit on the defensive end, and it's a balance. They D up, everybody on that court D's up, and and when they get their turnovers or when they force that stuff, they run you out. Because at that point, you can't stop all those athletes in Zoe's passing. Play good defense, long rebound, take off. Who's going to find you? Lonzo Ball. Easy. Easy. Now, you're not going to want to do that too much with Caruso and Kobe, because you got to figure out more how to make that work. And my, to Big Spell 757, I hope I remember saying your shit properly. Because he asked me a question, and I know he follows me on here too. Caruso is the point guard off the bench. Kobe White is going to be Zach LaVine. Like, basically, the way that this is going to work, and I'm going to answer your question on here. Kobe is Zach LaVine. He's the scorer. So he's going to come in for Zach's minutes every time. He's going to come in and he's going to take over the scoring load. Caruso is going to come in for Lonzo. He's going to take over the defensive role and the passing, even though he's not going to have the ball to do most of the passing, but he's going to take care of the miscellaneous stuff, kind of like Zoe is, because he's like a mini toolbox himself. And he's going to be a different kind of defender out there to help that team go, which is why you're going to have DeRozan, and he's going to run point guard for the most part in that second unit, okay? And that's going to work for them, because really, I mean, Caruso can play in transition. Kobe can play in transition, but to be real, they seem more like half-court guys. And so it would make more sense. It would make more sense to have them in a half-court with DeRozan. And both can shoot. Well, Caruso more so than Kobe. Anywho, the main thing is Billy Donovan and Arturas, they have a framework for how they want this to work. And I think with DeRozan and kind of the rest of the guys too getting involved with this and reiterating, Lonzo's purpose on this team and their own purpose, I think you can kind of get the framework of how this is supposed to work. Now, let's talk about Vooch. Vooch is another one of these European guys, and they're very mouthy, okay? They'll take 2 minutes to answer a question, and they'll basically repeat the same thing and tell you, like, all the little details about it instead of, like, okay, you could have said all that in probably, like, 2 sentences. The main thing that we need to discuss here is, again, something I've already touched on. Vooch is going to run with them. However, he's not going to be able to match them in speed. So his role is to be the pull-up guy, the trail big. Lonzo gets the ball in transition, he's gone. He pulls 2 or 3 defenders in, and he's now turning around and look. Vooch is behind him wide open. Because you know what? DeRozan is going to command attention, and they're not going to let Zach just get an easy bucket. So that's the 5 defenders. That means Pat Will and Vooch. Vooch understands the game plan. I know what I need to do. I need to be ready to knock down these shots. That's where he's going to come from. That's where his scoring is going to come from. They're going to use him in different situations, primarily pick and pop. But when they're running in transition, it's okay that he's not fast. He'll be the trail big. When they pull all that gravity in, you just find Vooch. Easy bucket. Easy bucket. And if a big is athletic enough to try to get in front of him, he can just take you off the dribble and get to the paint. And he's a solid passer, so if you cut, he's going to find you too. This thing is like a seamless, interwoven system. I see how this is supposed to play out. So I'm not going to dig too much into what Vooch said, because he really just basically reiterated what everybody else said. Let's get to Pat Will. Pat Will, and this was interesting because Billy Donovan was saying his conditioning wasn't up to par last year, so his assignment was get your conditioning up. And the injury kind of is like a setback, but for the most part, he should be okay. But he was saying, look, he's got explosiveness, but last year there were times where he couldn't, harness it because he just got too tired. And it's like asking a 19-year-old to come in, they're usually not in shape enough for NBA basketball. And especially when you got that kind of athletic ability and prowess that he has, you need to be able to have the stamina to access it all game. He was like, there were certain parts, throughout the year where he just didn't have it anymore because, his body just wasn't conditioned. So that's what his primary focus was. And he was like, even on the defensive end, if you're going to be switching and guarding multiple positions, like forward, center, point guard, you need to have stamina. You need to be able to react and have that explosiveness. And so that was nice to hear, okay, this is what his game plan was from jump this offseason, and so that's what he worked on. And they wanted him to be more aggressive to take those shots, which is nice too. He's going to get a lot of open looks this year, and they're going to have to depend on him to be like that corner spot up 3. Hey, when he gets it, maybe take a shot or 2, get to the rim, or line that thing up and knock it down. You shot 40% on very low attempts last year. Let's get that up and get more comfortable with you moving off the ball. All excellent things. And so I'm going to be looking forward to seeing how he performs in his duties, because he will be the youngest in that lineup, and there will be a lot expected upon him because of everybody else. Now, I haven't seen a picture yet of him next to the rest of the guys to verify his height. I will say this. I saw a picture of the 4 main guys in the starting lineup. Let me just say, DeRozan looked damn near taller than Zach, and Zoe looked taller than Zach, which tells me that Zach is probably 6'5", even though his listed height is 6'6". Pisses me off a little bit if that's truly the case. But, you know, angles are bad, could be bad, position of the camera, you never know. But, I mean, that looked way too egregious for me. You know, even though body posture and stuff affects that, he looked clearly shorter than the other guys, and that kind of irritates me if he truly is a 6'5" shooting guard and not a 6'7" shooting guard, but whatever. I still need to verify Pat Will's height, but I gotta say, overall, this was a success in my eyes. They did a very good job, and I'll probably go more in depth on each individual interview later. But for right now, this is my general, you know, just looking at it like, okay, this is what I see. I want to hear what you guys have to say. Please leave a comment. If there's something specific that you caught that I didn't address here, let me know. When I do individual breakdowns of all the particular interviews and I have the stuff written out and I can get into it, I'll address those things too. But yeah, man, y'all have a good one. Peace.